We can use NUnit to assert that objects are of the correct type and also that objects have expected properties. So let's take a look at this. So here we have this enemy factory class, and this just contains a single method create that returns a weakly typed object here. And we can also specify whether we want to create a boss enemy, in which case we return a new boss enemy, otherwise we return a new instance of a normal enemy. So because this is a weakly typed object here, we may want to write some tests to check that we get the correct type of enemy returned. So let's have a look at this first test here. Should create normal enemy. Again, we create our system under test, and we're calling the create method of our enemy factory and passing false, because we want to create a normal enemy and not a boss enemy. So we're going to get an object back here. To check that the enemy that we get back is a normal enemy, we can use the isTypeOf constraint here and pass it, in this generic type here, the type of object that we expect. So here we're saying that we expect our enemy to be a normal enemy. So let's go and run this. And this passes because we've passed false here, so we get a normal enemy created. We can also check now that we get a boss enemy created if we pass true to this create method. And this also passes. We can also check that an object is an instance of some kind of base type. So if we have a look at our normal enemy here, we can see we inherit from the base class enemy, and also boss enemy here inherits from enemy as well. So here we're saying when we create something using the create method, that whatever we get back is an instance of enemy. So because we're passing true here, we're going to get a boss enemy which inherits from enemy. So by using the is.instanceOf method, we can check that an instance is of a specific type. So let's run this. And our test passes because the boss enemy that we get back inherits from enemy. If we were to not inherit from enemy in our boss here and run this again, our test will now fail because boss enemy is no longer an instance of enemy. So let's just fix that. We can also use the has.property method to check that an object has a specific named property. So here we're going to pass true to get a boss enemy, and now we're going to check that this resultant object has a property called extra power. And we can see that the boss enemy here indeed does have a property called extra power. So this test should pass, which it does. If we add an additional assert now to check that boss enemy also has a property called some other property, our test will now fail because the object doesn't have a property called some other property.